Nikki Nevermore, streaming on Twitch every Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Link in the description. Hi everyone, I'm Nikki Nevermore, and today I have a very unique kind of video compared to what I normally post. I'm gonna show you guys my pet deer mouse, Bean, and tell you his story. So, yeah, this is Bean. AKA Small Bean Wellington. That's his full name. Most commonly referred to as Nini or Nini Rotini, and the Meanster. That's his cool guy name. He's a little troublemaker, but oh my god, I love the crap out of him. So to start with the story, first of all, he is a deer mouse, which is a mouse that is commonly found in the wild, and he was hand raised by me. Basically, he was found in a lawnmower. Yeah, back in 2016. I had a roommate who at the time went to go and start a lawnmower. It was broken, and this little guy came flying out of the exhaust pipe. Except he was nowhere near this big. He looked nothing like this because it turns out he was only a few days old at the time. So he was like this tiny little thing, like this big. I'm gonna insert some pictures and like video clips so you guys can get an idea of what I'm talking about here. His eyes weren't even open yet, and his ears were still like flat against his head, and that meant that he was under 2 weeks old. So he was a baby and he could not do anything for himself. So immediately, after realizing we didn't see a mommy mouse or a mouse nest anywhere, I was like, okay, I have to take care of him. I used to have pet mice back in like high school, and I'm known to be like a crazy rodent lady. I love rats, I love hamsters, guinea pigs, I love all of them, and I was just like, okay, this little guy needs someone to take care of him, and I'm not gonna let him die. So I took on the responsibility of caring for an infant deer mouse. So this was in this was in May of 2016. His birthday, we ended up discovering, was approximately May 7th. The only way to really know for sure was to look at the age chart for like deer mice. And on day 14, when they're 2 weeks old, that's usually when they start opening their eyes for the first time. So we just kind of tracked that down, which was day 5 or 6 of me having him. And that's how we determined that, he was 2 weeks at that point, and I was able to figure out a birthday for him. Which, yes, means he did just recently celebrate his 4th birthday. Deer mice in captivity can actually live to be about 8 years old, maybe even up to 10 if they're lucky. Pet store mice usually only live like 2 or 3 years. So I've had him for 4 already, and he's still doing really well, so I expect to have him for at least a few more years. But anyway, yeah, when we found him, he came popping out of the lawnmower, and I immediately started doing research on how to handle, an abandoned baby mouse, and I realized that was going to be a crazy amount of work, because here's everything that a mommy mouse does, and oh my gosh, shout out to every mommy mouse in the world, because they work hard. Every 2 hours, like on the dot, every 2 hours they need to be fed. That's the first part, So we had to get goat milk for him because they can't actually drink cow milk, and so goat milk or kitten formula are some of the things that baby mice can eat. So we got goat milk, and I had to feed him that every 2 hours, and that includes throughout the night. I had to do this for a week straight, every 2 hours. I got very little sleep, and it was super duper worth it to me. He was dehydrated, so we had to get something called Pedialyte, which is basically just electrolytes that you could give to babies when they're dehydrated. And we would mix that in with his goat milk, and we had to feed him with like a little tiny paintbrush. We tried to make the goat milk somewhat warm so that it was more like, like the mama mouse's milk would be warm. and I would take a little paintbrush and just like dip it into the milk and the Pedialyte, and then he would just kind of like suckle from the paintbrush. And it was super cute. But that is not where it ends with the mommy mouse and working their butts off. Because after that, he would need a full bath with a Q-tip. Q-tip bath, which is like a little damp Q-tip, warm water. We'd have to clean up his entire face, everything around it, because if they get like the food on their face, they could get like skin problems and get all itchy and stuff. So we'd have to take a Q-tip bath after that. And then also, mommy mousies have to stimulate the baby's tummies and, you know, their genital area so that they could go to the bathroom, and they would have to do this after every feeding. So I would rub his tummy with my finger, and then you just kind of use the Q-tip again, a damp Q-tip, and just like, you know, press around his genital area so that he could go poopy and pee. And I had to do this routine every 2 hours, and it would take about 15-20 minutes between him eating, getting cleaned, and then going to the bathroom. Then he'd go right back to bed. And this was the first 5 or 6 days up until he was 2 weeks old, which once they're 2 weeks old and opening their eyes, that's when they're able to start doing things on their own. They're able to start eating food, they can start going to the bathroom on their own, and that's when I was officially like in the clear as far as his survival rate. Because, you know, even when you're doing everything right with an abandoned mouse, without their mother, they still run the risk of not surviving. And I would wake up throughout the night just to check on him. I would kind of panic, and I just wanted him to survive so badly. And I had to keep him in a cardboard box that had like little tissue paper and stuff like that in it to keep him warm. And then we would I would take a heating pad, put it on low setting, put a towel on top of the heating pad, and then put the box with him on it on top of the heating pad to keep them warm throughout the night. And oh boy, what a crazy week that was. Like I said, all I wanted was for this little guy to survive, and I was gonna lose all the sleep in the world if it meant that he would live. That's exactly what happened. Also, he ended up getting hurt when he came flying out of the lawnmower. He had like a little scratch on his face, a little bloody area, so I had to dilute some peroxide and use a Q-tip to like wipe his wound off too. So it was even more of a, oh my god, he's not gonna make it kind of thing. And I proceeded to do more and more research. Originally, you know, I wasn't gonna name him or anything because I thought I'd be able to like send him back out into the wild and he'd be able to live his wild mousy life out there. But all the research I read told me that he wasn't gonna survive because he didn't have a mommy mouse to teach him anything, and he started becoming comfortable around humans, and everything that I read told me that, you know, it's something that a lot of people do when they find an abandoned deer mouse is they end up keeping them as a pet. And, you know, we were originally just like referring to him as the small bean because he was just a bean size and I didn't want to get attached, so I didn't want to name him. But then once I realized that he was going to survive and that he was going to have to stay with me, we kind of just, you know, the name kind of stuck. Small Bean Wellington. And I mean, I more commonly call him Meanie more than anything. Meanie Rotini. But yeah, he just ended up sticking with that name. And I think it's super cute. He's super duper bean sized, super duper precious. He's also very, very sweet. Like right now he's a little spazoid. He has so much energy. He's constantly running on his wheel, and he likes to do this thing where he'll run really, really fast and he'll launch himself off the wheel into like a pile of bedding, and then he runs right back to it and does it again. Like he's a little bit of an adrenaline junkie. He doesn't like to sit still for very long. He's super cuddly though. Like He's definitely a mama's boy. He actually gives kisses, which I know a lot of people don't think mice give kisses, but they do. He'll lick the tip of my fingers and like you hardly even feel it. It's like such a tiny little gentle kiss, but you'll see it happening. And sometimes he'll just like grab my finger with his little grabby hands, and it's my favorite thing. It's super precious. As far as his diet, he eats a regular seed mix that you would buy for pet mice, as well as he loves fresh veggies. I like to give him I get frozen veggies, like mixed veggies. I have like carrots, peas, lima beans, green beans in it, corn, and he loves all of those. Green beans would be his least favorite of the bunch, and he definitely likes corn the most. He's a big fan of blueberries. It's his favorite fruit, so I keep some frozen blueberries that I can thaw so that he can have them at any given point. But I do like to give him fresh fruit from time to time too. He's not a fan of cheese. Believe it or not, mice loving cheese is more of like a cartoon thing. In fact, I've never had a pet mouse that actually liked cheese, and I have 2 other mice right now. They're female fancy mice. Because deer mice and fancy mice cannot breed, because their genes are more closer related to that of like a gerbil than an actual fancy mouse. Or maybe that's the other way around. Maybe their genes are closer to gerbils than females. I'll fact check that. But yeah, so they can't breed, which means, you know, I would never have to worry about having like a million other little mousies to take care of. But they had to be female fancy mice because male mice get really territorial. They do not like other male mice unless they are from the same... They do not like other male mice unless they're from the same litter. Like, they'll fight and hurt each other. But, you know, after a few years, it was just like, I want him to have friends. I was searching for a while, actually, and a lot of the pet stores only carry, like, one gender of the pets. And so we had to drive, like, an hour away to go find 2 female fancy mice who he loves so much, and they definitely love him. At first, Bean was actually scared of them. They were all over him. We had to like introduce them in like a big tote container with like some of Bean's toys and like some snacks and a couple things so that he would be like calmed down enough and that I could easily like monitor what they were doing and make sure that like they weren't hurting each other. He was scared. He was trying to hop out of the container and it was just terrifying. I felt so bad. It took like 2 weeks before he finally like got used to them, because they would just like chase him around. They wanted to hang out with him and play with him, and it took him like 2 weeks before he finally started like playing with them too. So I think it was only like another week after that we moved the 2 girls into the big mousy mansion with Bean, and it's my favorite thing in the world now. They all play together almost all the time. I go to feed them like new snacks or whatever, they're all cuddling together. They all pass out in like the same spots. They sleep together. It's my favorite thing. So we just have like a big mousy mansion with the 3 little babies. They can just hang out and do stuff. We're constantly adding new toys to their mousy mansion. Once I move and have a bigger room, I want to double the size of the mousy mansion and just go all out with it. But yeah, he loves them. They love running through tubes, like these plastic tubes are like his favorite thing. They have this little like cannonball, or like it's like a cannon kind of toy, and it like kind of goes back and forth like a seesaw, but then it has like this big hole in the middle so they can run through it like a tube. They definitely love that. They have 2 wheels in their cage. They have lots of little things to hide in and chew on, because Mousie's teeth, they never really stop growing, and they have to constantly be biting on like wooden stuff or something so that their teeth don't overgrow, so that they don't accidentally like hurt themselves or whatever. Kind of like how you have to like trim a dog's nails, but it's kind of like how you have to trim a dog's nails, except you don't actually do anything to trim their teeth. You know, they do it themselves by biting on like wooden pieces. exhausting himself right now, so I might go put him back in his little housey so he can take a nap. They are actually nocturnal, and I feel bad for waking him up to do this video, but he kind of was awake before I started filming this anyway, because he was eating snacks. So they do wake up throughout the day from time to time to like eat or whatever, but for the most part they sleep during the daytime, kind of like me. Also, a lot of people seem to be concerned when I first started posting him online that mice carry diseases, and they were like, how could you take him in like that? That's gross. First of all, with my love for animals, and especially my love for rodents, it was a risk I was willing to take. But also, it's not that they can carry a bunch of diseases, it's the one disease they carry called hantavirus that people are concerned of. Now, to have hantavirus, he would have had to have been exposed to a different mouse that had it already, you know? They don't just have this virus, you know? And considering he was only about 4 or 5 days old at that point, it was like very low risk of him having anything like that. Not to mention, people don't seem to realize that you can't catch that virus through like their saliva or anything. The virus is spread through like their feces if like it's vacuumed or swept up and it becomes airborne. That's the only way people could actually catch hantavirus, and it is very, very rare for a mouse to give this virus to people. Very rare, so much so in fact that in the state of Connecticut where I was living, where I found him, there's only one known case of hantavirus in a human. And that's not just like in that month, in that season, in that year, that's like in general, in all time, there's only been one case of hantavirus in Connecticut. So, it's not this high risk that people think it is. And now it's been 4 years and I'm pretty sure he doesn't have any sort of virus. And I am not afraid of him at all. I'm not afraid that he'll bite me. In fact, he nibbles sometimes, but it's only when he's being playful. He's never bitten to hurt someone. And I'm not afraid to do this. He's my baby and I love him so much, and mousies are friends, not enemies. They are friends. If you like this video, make sure you leave a thumbs up, leave a compliment for Bean, and make sure you subscribe. He's such a booger. I love him. Say goodbye to everyone, Bean. Say goodbye. Say goodbye to the YouTube subscribers. Say goodbye. Bye. Mousy update time. Meowth, apparently. Yeah, Meowth is, he's enjoying watching them with me. You know, Meowth's a really good boy. He doesn't try to hurt them or anything, but, you know, we still don't let him hang out with them alone without supervision. But anyway, the two girls, they haven't squabbled at all in over a day. The first night, it seemed they were fighting over the toys in their house, but, you know, they broke up their little fights by themselves, and no one got hurt or anything. It was just, you know, them squeaking at each other. So they haven't fought. There's been no fights between them and Bean whatsoever. The two girls seem to really love Bean, especially Gingerbread in there. Coco loves him too, but Bean's still kind of nervous around them, and it's just so funny to me because he's the big bad alpha male, but I think he's just shy. It could just be that, you know, he's never been around other mice before, and sometimes I think Bean thinks he's a people, you know, since I hand raised him, and he doesn't even like remember Mommy Mouse or anything. He just, you know, he just had me take care of him. So he's never been around other mice, whereas, you know, these two girls, they grew up with a bunch of other mice, so I think it might just take Bean a little longer to adjust, but you know, in the big mouse house, he's got plenty of places that he'll be able to hide. As you could see, he likes to hide in the little tiny housey thingy there. But the girls like to go in there with him and, you know, cuddle up next to him, and he's handling it okay, you know, he's just nervous. And right now we've just got some newspaper in here because the towel got really stinky really fast, so we got some newspaper in their playpen this time. And the wheel needs a good cleaning, you know. Mises just poop wherever. They don't really think what their plan is as far as going to the bathroom. They just go. Silly wheel's got poopies on it, but we gotta clean that. It's cleaning day today. Girls like to run on the wheel together. I briefly got to see all three of them try to run on the wheel together. It was really cute. Once they all move into the big mouse house, they're gonna have multiple wheels, you know, because Bean has his own wheel in that other place. And Anton and I are thinking about getting a second fish tank and connecting Bean's mouse house to the second one via a series of tubes going through like the mesh top, and making a mousy mansion, so that, you know, all three of them will have the opportunity to come and bother each other if they want to, but also so they'll have like big space where Bean could stay alone if he wants, and, you know, they'll have a lot of fun things to do. So that's a project for 2020 we're gonna work on, Mouse Mansion. Okay, that's it for this update. Yay, Bean! Look at you, you're so cute. And then the girls, hi, Gingerbread. Hey, Coco. Oh, babies. Ah, Bean just jumps on my